I didn't stop losing weight.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lyceum night. I think it's going to be a bit raucous tonight. From the Paul Spiritualist Church down on the south coast of the UK. Very warm welcome to everybody who is joining us online and who will be watching us on catch up in the future. I'd like to say we've got a wonderful, wonderful guest tonight. We've got a very well-rounded experience of trance, working with guides, excellent evidential medium. As I said, I would like to say that, but unfortunately, we've got Bill Rich instead.
When's this medium turning up? Like, I've got the wrong program. Evening, Laurie. Thanks for the intro.
Good evening, Bill. Thank you for giving us your time tonight and being with us.
Pleasure to be here, mate.
Yeah, we joined online just prior to going live, and we both said, "What are we talking about tonight?" No, we had no idea.
Right.
So, but we do have a history of just being able. When Bill calls up or I call Bill, it normally ends up into like an hour and a half conversation. I've only phoned up to find out what the time is.
Yeah, are you turning up?
Yeah, how Celia is, and 2 hours later I'm thinking, yeah. New Year. I know Christmas seems like many years ago, but January and February this year just seems to have went on forever.
I can't believe it's just, I can't believe how quick it's gone.
Oh, I had a panic today because I thought, oh, thank goodness it's March. And then I suddenly thought, well, it's only 4 weeks till I go away. Oh, my God.
Where are you off to? Where are you going? You going somewhere nice?
Holland. I am out in lovely Holland teaching.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful.
I think this year's gone quick. And I struggled last year on various things, health and other issues. Yeah. And I kind of hoped and prayed that Spirit would rejuvenate my thirst again, for wanting to work and experiment and do different things. And got to say, got off to a good start.
That is very interesting, what you just said there about rejuvenation and realigning ourselves on our work, because in several conversations recently with fellow mediums, one of the topics is not I've had enough, but I'm getting stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to progress. I don't know if I want to progress. Things like that. It's very interesting.
I found myself, I can't speak for you, but you'll tell us. I found myself saying, I feel like I'm going round on a roundabout.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt that the messages were repetitive. Does that make sense? And, where am I going? Who am I? What is my direction? And I love the way Spirit work. I come out of the new year. I had a very quiet January, Laurie. Good. I didn't do a lot of readings. I had no platform as such. And it gave me that time to, I know it's going to sound silly, but go fishing, go out, do things, find a life away from the Spirit. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And next thing I know, I had a couple of platforms readings. Then Spirit Quest was upon me.
Yeah, that came around quick.
It comes up, oh, God, my God, we're at Spirit Quest. And going down there and seeing new people, younger people, doing the demos, the teaching, not just the social, the family atmosphere. I felt at home and belonging again. I thought, I found my roots. This is where I belong. Yeah. This is what I'm missing. And coming away from Spirit Quest, there's been this sudden drive. I'm beginning to say, I want to do. I want to find out. I want to learn again. Does that make sense?
Very much. Very much.
I think we all mediums are guilty of stagnating sometime.
Because you said something really interesting there about the messages felt the same.
Yeah.
I had exactly that myself. And in fact, I was halfway through a read, and I said to this lady, "Have I worked with you before?" And she went, "No." And I'm like, "This is more like it's coming from my memory rather than above or by the side." So when I sat with Spirit, my team are great because it's all, normally one word and one syllable, and I go, "Oh, okay, that's fine. I can't argue with that." And I said, "What's this? What is going on? Why does all my messages feel familiar?" And they said, "Because you're not progressing your mediumship." I went, "Yeah, guilty."
I'm going to openly admit, I've taught, I love teaching, and I've helped people, but I think sometimes you forget your own lessons.
Yeah.
I really do believe that you're good at saying to someone else, "This is how you do it," and you kind of forget it yourself. And one of the things was I've noticed that, and I don't mean this egotistically, I feel this is me, that my messages are getting stronger.
Good.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's beautiful, which is what I'm always as a medium searching for. And I think it was a trust issue. It was a trust issue, as in, am I going to be wrong? I know that sounds so wrong, and people who are watching might go, "What? You do that?" But I think as a medium, we've sometimes faced with our own frailties.
No, yeah.
And I started to learn to trust what was coming through and going with it, however obscure it may seem. The people going, "Oh my God, yes, that was that. How did you drag that out?" Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, wow, this is what it's about. It was like, you've been in Circle Lloyd when we first started, when you start to get that compilation of messages coming together. And you think, yeah, I can see it going like that, yeah. And it was really, really nice to feel,
Yeah.
But interesting because everyone who knows us know that we take the mickey out of each other, don't we?
No.
Right? We have a great rapport, me and you.
No.
And it was an interesting conversation come up last night. And we were talking about mediumship of when we first started 30 odd years ago. I happened to be meeting someone who was at my time in my circle. Does that make sense? I had just left and she had just come in. And we were talking about the changes. And do you know one word come up? Mass produced. Right? The mediumship now is mass produced. Right? Rather than time served apprenticeship in service. Does that make sense?
Could you just say that one word again? Because you dropped out a little bit there, mate.
Mass produced.
Mass produced.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It just seems like now we're mass producing message givers rather than training mediums to be acquiring knowledge as well as being able to do the message. Does that make sense?
It does, and very interesting as well, because I've got a closed circle running, and I was noticing this formulaic way of presenting the evidence, and to be honest, it was beginning to niggle me. It was gender, age, name. And I'm like, and I tried several ways with the circle of saying, try to feel your way into the message. Don't go for that, because if that's meant to come out, the more you get engrossed with the message, the more evidence will start to come out. And in the end, I had a brainwave. I know, shock horror. That's it. That was the one for 2024. So I asked the members of the circle to describe mother, father, sister, brother, whoever, with 3 words. And every word was emotionally linked. Warm, loving, kind, difficult, awkward, obstinate, things like that. I said, you do see mediums who will give name, height, everything like that very analytically. I said, but generally you'll find Keith, bless him, I love Keith to bits, and his evidence, because of that policeman's mind, it is very descriptive.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's the mindset that the spirit is working through. So of course it will be coloured by that. I said, but we're not all like that. Actually, I said, the only people who describe people like that are policemen and morticians. I don't know where that came from.
I know, bless him, if Keith's listening to this tonight, he knows because I've said it. I've always described Keith as the forensic medium.
Yeah.
You know, the ins and outs. And I've seen that man stand on platform, and I've worked with him. And the evidence he gives is like, how the hell do you follow that?
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the thing. I think where we're getting this mass produced is that people are trained to deliver a message, but they're neglecting what spiritualism is about, the spiritual aspects, its understanding, its knowledge, its core. And I get quite peeved with that now, because I see lots of people come out. I don't get a chance to watch mediums, and I am, by ladies and gentlemen, no mate knocking mediums. But you go and ask them about, you know, I don't know, any of the mediums from past or history of spiritualism, they have no knowledge of it, Laurie.
Mm.
The knowledge being passed down there is that you are standing there giving a message, psychic or spiritually.
Yeah.
I think that's very worrying.
It is worrying. But I was looking, because when I did this with my circle, I'm also involved in something on the side about neurodiversity, about the different ways that people think.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, do you know what? It would be really interesting with a closed circle or a group of people to come up with a questionnaire. And somebody sent me a link to one that's already out there. And it tells you how your mind processes things. So whether you're logical or whether you're emotionally based.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
And I thought, wouldn't that be interesting? Instead of saying to a group, we had 12 here today for the healing, and David, brilliant teacher. Actually, I was really bad at because teaching's totally different. But if you have somebody in for a mediumship workshop and you have 12, 15, 20 people there saying, right, this is how you do it, there will be a segment of those people who brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know, they don't, that's sort of like, whoa, I can't process that. And I'm not saying that there's any issue. We are all individual and unique.
I think that's a really good point, because you could put that to the test, yeah?
Yeah.
And, you know,
you're
in Holland, mate, go for it, yeah? The worst they can do, they can only take your passport away from you. A phone call. I think I'll make a phone call.
Thanks, Bill.
Some people will see, some people will sense, some people will hear.
Yeah.
And if you take for argument's sake, I'm making this up purely, a vehicular accident, yeah? They stand on the platform, they're looking at, they might say, do you know, I'm aware of an accident. That's their sense coming in. I'm aware.
Yeah.
People might see the accident, right? Some people might hear someone say literally, or the words in the head, car accident. So we're all picking up in our own strongest links, which spirit guide us on, don't they? Mm. The key to me is going to what you're saying is, if you threw that out open and you had hands, that medium's got all the time to acquire the information of that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you are working from the emotional side, you might pick it up one way. If you're working from the analytical side, someone who's very forensic, you're going to be saying to spirit, show me the car. What's the registration number?
Yeah.
Because it's your way your brain is thinking. You know, and I think these are things that I think are great ideas how to teach. because some people might not like what they see. So why would spirit give it to them? They'll say that's too distressing for me. You know, emotions I think can be as strong as a visual. It can be very overpowering with the emotions, can't it? So we have to tell spirit what we're comfortable with, and they have to find out which side of our mind, how we work, what is our strengths with that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And us as students,
Yeah.
I think there's a benefit there. And that was a nice example you just said there about the car crash, because this is just dingling about in the background here. And I thought that actually is quite a good situation, because you could have two people go to a motor accident.
Yeah.
One will be straight in with the driver. Are you all right? You know, are you hurt? Can I help you? Can I do that? Can I do that? Another one would look at it and go, okay, is there any danger? Is there anything I need to do? Is there a fire? Is there smoke? Is there diesel spill? And would look at that in a totally different viewpoint.
You could take that to another extreme, Laurie. Real life events, yeah? You could be standing there looking at it coming on, as though you're looking at it at 12 o'clock face on, and have two people standing together. One will see something different from the other one.
Yeah.
It's what we're observed to, our observation take us to. And I think that's a really good way, what you're doing there, in teaching the students that way. I often say to people when we're teaching, sometimes it's like, who are you drawn to? Them. Why are you drawn? I feel I'm drawn there. So then now I've got that feeling of that's where I'm drawn to. And a good way is to get the students to close their eyes and say, "Our spirit to use this."
Yeah.
Right? Our spirit to use that, not your eyes. Close your eyes. What's the image you get? What's the sensation you get? What's the words you may get? And often they will pick up with the spirit communicator, which is a good way. It's either on the emotional level, right, or the analytical level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much.
And I said what you're talking about, I think, is a very, very good idea and should be brought in more, I think.
It's just something I'd like to try, because, as I say, doing this work on the side with the neurodiversity, it just made me more aware of actually, yeah, we all do think differently, you know, and we get the prime examples, don't we, of one of my favourites. Somebody will send me a message saying, what time are your services? And you've just sent it through the website. And I'm like, it's on the website.
Yeah. It's there.
Website you're on. Look at the top. Look at the top. There it is.
What were you looking at?
But again, that is, we all process things differently. Everybody processes things differently. And I dare say with the spirit side of life, things are processed differently.
Yeah, I'm a great believer. You know, you're talking about the neurological side and that, and the strength of the person, not the medium, the person. Let's use that word, shall we say? Yeah. I've always said spirit knows who they want to come through.
Yeah.
Always believed that spirit knows that person has the ability to deliver what I would like to get across as the spirit communicator.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it works both ways here. But, you know, when I said to you about, you know, this production line mediumship, you know, it brought home from our conversation last night the time we spend, not just sitting in circle, but actually experimenting.
Yes.
You know, this is what I was trying to get at. You know, the circle leader had come up, right, we're going to do this tonight, yeah? And I'm not going to lead the lesson, but we're going to allow spirit to use you.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like this, the word experimentation, you know, and I've said to you countless times before, why do I keep harping back to the days of old with the older style mediumship? And why would I think it was so good? Is that they sat for spirit with spirit.
Yeah.
not lead spirit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, not come in with wants.
Yeah.
But come in to explore. And yeah, you know, life, the world, and everything has moved on. And we will always. I'm sure you chuckle when people come into mediumship because they want to get rich.
Oh,
well,
God, yeah, good luck with that one.
How rich are you, Bill?
I'm skint. I shouldn't be named Bill Rich. It should be Bill. I'm skint. But I think our wealth comes in other ways, though, Laurie, doesn't it?
Do you know what? You are 110% right there. Yeah. You know, when we have those moments and you just go, yeah, money can't buy that. Nothing could ever buy that emotion, that time, that connection, if it be on a personal basis. And we are allowed. I was talking to my circle the other week, and one said something about their work, and they went, "Oh no, that sounds too ego." And I went, "No, you weren't being egotistical." I said, "But we beat ourselves up every 5 minutes and thinking, I missed that, didn't do that, missed that."
Yeah.
I said, but we should also allow ourselves to come down and go, "Do you know what? Thank you. That was good. That was really good."
I think that's right. I think there's nothing wrong with sometimes when praise is given to accept it and say it's given because it's warranted. Yeah. Someone has said you have done well done, because I think if you go for a whole time with no thank yous, no well done, you start to ask, am I doing it right? And that's the human nature side, isn't it? Mm. Until someone comes up, if you did a message or you was doing something and I said to you, you know what, Laurie, that was brilliant, well done, mate. It's like, thank you. It's that, yeah, it is working. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not ego, it's just being human.
Yeah, I'm not mad. It does work. And this is another thing that we used to see and we don't nowadays. Down this way, there was a big crowd of what we refer to as the old school mediums. There were circles like every day of the week but they were, you know, if you're in my circle, you don't sit in anybody else's circle, not through ego or competition. It's just having two masters. So there was a lot going on in the area. But when one was taking a service somewhere, quite a few of the others would go along and watch them work.
Yeah.
And that was shared around. And also, very interestingly, they sat in circle with each other.
Exactly. And there was no egos.
No.
No ego whatsoever.
There was competitiveness.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ego driven. I know it sounds a bit of loggerheads with each other. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you do. Bill, if I went out fishing with you and you landed a 10-pound bass, I would want to land a 12-pound bass.
Exactly.
That's not ego. That's like, okay.
You remember the days in circle, and guys, you're watching out there, you know, joining, because you must remember it yourselves. You go in the circle and you learn very quickly there are people that are advanced of you, yeah?
Yeah.
They're doing well. And you think, oh, God, I'm never going to be as good as them. They're going to be out before me. And you're watching them sit in circle, and the circle leader says, "Oh, Mary, what you got?" They get this blinding message, and you sit there in awe, like, you know, think, oh, what I'd give to give that. And then it's your turn, and you give something, and they're sitting in awe going, oh, my God, that is brilliant. You know, I wish I could deliver it like that. But there was always that competitiveness of, they done well next week, I'm going to try and do better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was healthy.
It was healthy.
It was
healthy. But today it's more the ego. I am the best. And I saw an advert the other day by somebody who is number one, the world's best psychic, and I'm like, says it.
Someone sent the other
Might
day
be you. Who said that?
about a medium, and they said you got to have a look at this. I can't honestly. I'm not being defensive here. I just can't remember it.
Yeah.
But apparently their guide is a dog.
Great.
Yeah, and I thought, well, that's
Okay.
different. And I watched part of it, and to me, it just brought in a disrepute everything we all stand for. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing I've noticed with anything. It takes one bad thing to smear everything.
That's human nature, isn't it? The old training adage about the goalkeeper. Out of 100 goals, there were 99 brilliant saves and one real doozy of a let through.
Yeah.
And everyone quotes that.
Exactly.
Not the 99 others.
I got a question for you.
I know.
Yeah.
27.
Did you notice last year? I don't know if it's just me. There was a lot of soul searching. I found this with other mediums.
No, it's just
It seemed to be the day where the year where they were looking at themselves. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was something strange. I don't know. Maybe it was the energies. Maybe it was an awakening. I think, I'd like to use that word awakening because we do get them occasionally. And it was like I found so many mediums with this looking at themselves. Where am I? Who am I? Where am I going? But what can I do? And I spoke to quite a few mediums on this, on a conversation level. And one of the things that come up was we don't allow spirit a voice anymore. We kind of dictate to spirit rather than giving spirit the voice. Would you agree with that?
There is an element. Can I answer this in two parts?
Go on then.
Oh, good. It's like mastermind.
Is it?
What you were saying about the soul searching is still going on.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, in 2 days, I had 3 mediums saying, and I was one of them, something's wrong and I don't know what it is. And I said that in a conversation to somebody. Somebody dropped in for a coffee, exact same line. Somebody we were doing a Zoom tutorship group said exactly the same thing. And I thought, this is very interesting. And this is within 48 hours. We're sensitives, aren't we? Well, most of us are. I know most of us are, Bill.
I can just imagine everyone's faces out in the lorry going, really? Yeah.
We are sensitive, and with everything going on in the world, why are we surprised that it's impacting us?
Yeah.
We've got to make those positive steps to go, right, I'm going to be in the world, not of the world. There's so much going on. There's so much confusion, doubt, uncertainty. We're human as well. Of course it's going to hit us.
I think when you look at the news, as much as I think it's tailored, it's like doom and gloom and never good news, it affects us. Everyone, whether you're a medium or not, it affects us in our well-being, should we say, yeah? And to me, the greatest escape is when I step into them spiritual shoes, because then problems are not there. Does that make sense? You're in that moment, that time with spirit. But the one thing I've noticed is that it's the younger people now that are really awakening and searching for things. Really have noticed that. I've seen it in the congregations. I've seen it in the audiences. They're searching for something. And I sometimes worry, and I am capable of worrying at times, contrary to belief, Laurie, right? And I think, what opportunities are there for them to explore that side? That awakening side. And that really, really worries me, because we all know everything in life costs something. And have you noticed that there's this increase of things popping up, using the well-being label, if I hasten to add, come to this, learn to be in touch with this, send it out to the universe, cure all these problems and everything. It's going to cost you $1,000. It's very much very, very worrying times, I think.
Yeah, wherever there's need, we're always going to get people who profiteer out of it.
Yeah.
You look at the end of, or during the Second World War, there were always people going to profiteer out of people's needs and wants. That energy doesn't change. The way it presents itself does, but that basic energy of I need it, okay, how much are you going to give me? That doesn't change.
Yeah.
But we do our best to work on presenting an educated response.
Yeah.
I have to be on social media. And some days I just have to walk away from social media, because you just see some of these outlandish claims, and I'm just like, okay, time for a rest. But it's doing what we can do. And as I say, Spirit will always use a rusty nail to get the message home.
I think so. I'm not one for predicting. And you know what I'm like with guides. I love teaching guides and working with guides and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There, Laurie, was there?
Sorry?
Was that people behind you then?
Yeah, somebody walked past the door. I'm like, oh, hello.
I think I can see a resurgence in people allowing Spirit to speak through trance or in trance states.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that sort of. I'm beginning to come across people with the ability. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I was, reading about Estelle Roberts the other day. 6,000 people, Laurie. Yeah. In sort of London Palladium. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Red Cloud and the teachings and the guide, and everything seems to come down to the teachings of the guides. Does that make sense? Barbanel, Silver Birch, things like that. And it's like, has spiritualism now got to the stage where we're not creating? And I think it has. And this is only my feelings. And guys, you're watching out here, put a comment on if I think Spirit need to bring them links back in order to show us the spiritual way forward.
Yeah. We're lacking that progressive approach to spiritualism. And again, I've been doing some work and just thinking, what do we say? I'm trying to look at things through the eyes and minds of somebody who has no idea what we do.
Yeah.
Because it's always very easy, isn't it? When we become so immersed in it, we just assume people are on the same page. So I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who got no idea what spiritualism is, what it's about, what is its belief.
Yeah.
And I can't find that anywhere.
No, I agree.
All right, I know somebody, if anybody is awake out there and get to your keyboards, I know somebody will say the 7 principles, but to an outsider, it's a bit, what does that mean? Yep. So I've working very much on a very basic line. Is our basic principle is we do not die. And everything we do comes from that.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. The 7 principles, if a medium stands there, brotherhood of man, we're all family. Mm-hmm. Regardless of skin color, regardless of your religious beliefs, your status in life. If we believe in God as our Father, then the brotherhood of man we're all family.
Yeah.
But you've got to explain things in people's way of understanding, you know. But since the 7 principles, I've seen it adapted. And people have tried us. I still believe they're in the throes of contemplating it now, about sort of not watering it down, but making it more explainable.
Yeah.
You know, and I look and I think, you know, with some of the teachings of spirit we had, and mediums would stand up and audiences would be amazed, not just the evidence, but the philosophy.
Yeah.
You know, and I ask myself in this day and age, do I need a message or do I need words of wisdom to survive this world? I think the word of wisdom would be actually much more stronger than a message.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a role spirit play.
In Paul, we before my time, but one of the ladies who came to the church, Winifred Moyes was there, and her guide Zodiac. And this woman described it, and I thought, that's really interesting. She's a little old lady, and she was carried up on the stage. She sat there, went into trance, and she said, and she stood up and stood up, and this voice just filled the theatre, absolutely filled it. And I thought, oh, I'm not seeing the experience of spiritualism being focused upon.
Yeah.
You know, me and you can sit here and talk, swap names of different guides, famous guides through the time, famous mediums through the time, transfiguration, ectoplasm, all these things. And anybody listening in, whether now or later, it's just words.
Of course it is.
I say to people, you know, if you've had this, I know you sit in a physical seance and it is that experience. Bring that experience factor out into the church. We had a beautiful example. A lady who will do trance for us for her address, and it's sublime. It's absolutely lovely. She'd done the trance address. One thing I noticed as well, when you got somebody who is really skilled and adept at doing trance, 90% of the people sit there with their eyes shut because they're just taking in the atmosphere. After the address, she went into the first message, and it was a parent who had lost a child. She could hardly get the words out because of the emotion. 3 other people in the church burst into tears because of the emotion. Yeah. And I said at the end, you're understanding now, this is the experience.
Yeah.
Don't be detached. Don't sit there watching it, you know, come on, impress me.
Yeah.
Open it up to that experience. And I think we're lacking the number of demonstrators who can create that atmosphere.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. And I totally agree. I said last night I was doing a dem. Funny enough, it was the UFO and paranormal group who embrace mediumship. Yeah, they have a
one of the example in the paranormal bit.
Yeah, they would do. Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Laurie might have a black eye if I could reach him here. And all the groups, all tied in by this web of intrigue, questions, wanting to understand, wanting to experience, wanting to experiment, yeah? And I thought that was brilliant. And I remember saying to them last night, you know, when you know spirit is there, you don't see it. You feel it. It grows from within. And I said, you can be in the arms of the person you love with all your life. It pales into insignificance when spirit touch you from in here. It leaves a mark and a feeling inside there you crave.
Yeah.
You know, it's solid peace, it's solid love, it's everything. And when you get someone, and I've been witness, as you know, Laurie, to seeing physical phenomena and trance, and some of the best. I've ever seen. It's not what you see, it's what you feel.
Exactly.
It's what you feel. You've been touched by a force of love. And that leaves a mark. And do we have an obligation? I think, Laurie, I'm going to say this. I think there are mediums, youngsters as well, I may hasten to add, younger mediums as well in age.
Yeah, at our age, everybody's younger because the ones over us are dead.
Yeah, but I'm younger than you. So I don't feel so bad now. Do you know what I mean? Right. I think we have an obligation to encourage them.
Yeah.
I don't think the days of physical phenomena. I think very, very few people are able to produce it. That's always been the case. But I think the trance, proper trance, I think it's there, Laurie.
Mm.
And it needs to take someone to say, come on, have a go.
And physical phenomena often said, why don't we see what we used to see at the turn of the century? Well, people tend to leave spirit out of this equation. And spirit wanted to get our attention. And a wonderful way to get everybody's attention, because don't forget, in those days, the level of education understanding was far, far different from today. So it had to be a presentation. You believe in me? Here I am in ectoplasm. You can touch me. You can hold my hand. You can hear my voice.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to understand. We, as a society, apparently we've evolved, but I'm beginning to doubt that at the moment with the way the world is. But never mind.
Yeah. Apparently it's true, but
yeah, I'm lacking the evidence to support it, sadly. But anyway, we are over 100 years later, and we think differently. Our understanding of things is different. We've probably all been to foreign countries, where in those days the end of the street was a foreign country. So it's a totally different world. So of course, spirit are going to work totally different with us.
Yeah.
And as I say about physical mediumship, unfortunately, with today's societal pressures, and I know I've said this before, if I stood on that platform tomorrow and levitated 2 foot, next week the church will be rammed with people wanting to see that.
Exactly.
The week after, the church will be rammed with people. When I levitate for 2 feet, they go, can't you do anything else? And that's not the point.
Yeah.
That was never the point. Those physical circles were run to support the mediums to go out and work and offer out that hand and that intelligence of spirit. That was
I understand that. I can actually give you and relate to a true story, Laurie. Yeah. I mean, bless her, Ellie's passed to spirit now, but she was just, oh my God. I mean, if you talk about a conduit to spirit, yeah,
mm-hmm.
I seriously think she was 3/4 spirit and 1/4 alive. She was just phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely physical. And I remember talking to a lady that went to see her. And she'd lost her daughter. Her daughter was probably about 9 years old, yeah? Tragic. I'm not going to go into details, but it was a tragedy in how she passed, yeah? And she went and Ellie said, look, we'll have an experiment. And the word experiment.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. It's an experimental process. And she sat there and her daughter, bless her, showed herself.
Yeah.
She said, Bill, I'm in the presence of my daughter. It was clear to the eye, and beyond all contestation, all doubt, I touched my daughter's hand, who actually touched mine.
Yeah.
And for that moment, that brief moment in time, it was just this bond. It was phenomenal. And she went on to tell me that was just that one chance she had that said, I touched my daughter.
Yeah.
But she went to see another medium many, many, many years later, Laurie, and I'm going a long time. And she said, I realised how spirit had changed. And I said, oh, okay, how was that? And she said, this medium wasn't a physical medium able to produce ectoplasm, but I spoke with my daughter. I actually spoke with my daughter. I was conversing. And it wasn't the medium saying, I have your daughter. It was a trance message, yeah?
Yeah.
The daughter spoke through. And she said, I now realise how spirit are adapting. And does that bring into play now that the days of ectoplasm are not needed, but the days of trance are needing to come back?
It does lend itself to that, but there is also another angle on what you've just said. At that time, for that lady to be in the right place mentally and emotionally, to have that physical contact with the daughter, because again, with memories like that, people say, well, why don't you see that now? Because there's so much more.
Yes.
It's not just, ta-da, exactly. I go back to me levitating. It's not, oh, do it again. It's a deeply emotional, physical, mental, healing link. And everybody's got to be on the right page.
Yeah.
Because if that lady was not on the right page and still racked by overwhelming grief, that could send her over the top or do untold damage.
Exactly. The responsibility of doing something like that is immense, Laurie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
It's all right. And it allowed, everything was right for that city.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what, as I say, people just get a little bit hooked on the phenomena of things. And it's like that, for that phenomena to manifest, there's got to be so many other levels that have got to be in the right place. And if they're not in the right place, spirit will understand that and it will not happen. It will not become manifest.
I think, you know, I mean, we always love our chats, Laurie, just like winding each other up and having a chat, yeah? And I've been to serve your church many times and I love it there, yeah?
Many
always said to
many times.
Well, sorry, mate, but you got me coming up in May, apparently. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Yeah, I've got plans.
That's all right. I've got your tent.
You said to me once, when I'm working, how spirit actually sort of like come very close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I become the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I'm being told. It's I'm aware. I saw you. It's the I. It's like stepping into their shoes.
Yeah.
Eileen Roberts, you know, she bless her, you know, when Eileen Roberts, you know, as much as people had opinions of her, she always said, you walk up to platform in your own shoes, but you step in the spirit shoes to do the job.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that with her. And I've always said to spirit and tried to explain to people how I work. And it's like when they get in close, you are the person.
Yes.
Memories are my memories, and my voice is not changed, but it's like their voice, if you like. You give them voice. And I think, is this the way? And I believe that this, and I still believe to this day, there's so much more spirit can do.
Yeah.
I believe there's so much more spirit can do, but I believe the shackles that people put on spirit, unions, whatever, we're not going down that road, but you know, you've got to take the shackles off and let spirit grow.
Yeah.
And I believe wholeheartedly, and come on, guys, are very quiet out there, yeah? You know, they are very, very quiet. And I believe the biggest mistake we ever made within the spiritual movement is I believe we shackle spirit. This is our way. This is how it should be done.
Yeah, I would phrase that slightly differently, not disagreeing, but we've encourage the want. I want to do this. I want to be a medium. I want to get up there. I want to give this. I want. And it's not. It's just about letting it grow. What you were saying there about being the person.
Compliment you that, Laurie. Sorry to cut across you. I've
No,
got
okay.
you on that, right? Because I think you've hit the nail on the head. When you go into circle with preconceptions in your mind, I want to be a clairvoyant medium. I want to see.
Yeah.
And the difference in our time when we were all training was we sat in circle and let spirit sort out what they wanted to do with you.
Yeah.
Right. And what was your strongest link? So I think you've hit that bang on the head.
Yeah. And, you know, we've got to let this process unfold within us. But when we're talking about the evidential mediumship, who was it? Oh, Val Williams. She was here doing training day, and she said that about being the spirit, and I can't remember her exact phraseology, but it really resonated with me, and I went, "Oh my God, yeah!"
Yeah.
Literally, that was the Saturday, and on the Wednesday we were doing an awareness night, and we was talking, and to demonstrate a point of, oh yeah, I was working psychically and then mediumistically. So I did the psychic part. When I went medium side, I went be the spirit, and I went, I'm looking down at this coffee table here, and I have the old jade smoking set here. And as I turn and look over there, there's the budgie in the cage. And looking at the houses across the road, I would say I'm in North London. The woman went, oh my God, that's my gran. Yeah. Everything. And I was there. It wasn't remote viewing. I was in the memories were mine. It was just like, wow, that is really powerful.
When they're doing that, with especially with students, yeah, and they start to go into this link, yeah, and you can see they go into a zone. Yeah, really, they are becoming the person. And I say, what's she doing? Oh, they're reaching down for something. Are you reaching for it, or are they reaching for it? No, I'm reaching for it. It's like you're so connected to that person. It feels like your hand is reaching to touch that, or your mouth is opening to say that. Yeah. And it's beautiful, and it's like it needs encouraging. It really, really does. And I know you do a lot of work at your church, encouraging people and the training and Lyceums and everything you do like that. But, you know, I just feel that the spiritual movement has failed to grow. Right. I don't mean in numbers, and I don't mean the creating of mediums. I think it's failed to grow in its knowledge and understanding. You know, what they taught us from the 1900s and all this, that can't be the extent of spirit's knowledge, Laurie.
Correct. Yeah.
It can't be the extent of their knowledge. Otherwise, we've done it all. We've seen it. So what's the point of learning?
Yeah.
There's so much there, and it's probably a fingertip away from us. And I often think, I wonder how spirit gets so frustrated, you know, that we're so close to giving you so much, but you don't push yourself that bit further. And it's an interesting thought, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, mate. I was thinking that today, and I was thinking, is spirit ambivalent towards us? Is spirit just sort of like, well, you know, here it is, take it, great. Because I've got this thing about giving and receiving are two different energies. Spirit will give. How we receive it is down to us.
Yeah.
But yet there is so much scope there. We were talking when Jack was over and Lola from Denmark. We did a couple of evenings, what we called experimental mediumship.
Yeah.
Now, a few mediums came along and watched it and went, well, this is an experiment. This is what we do in circle. I said, yeah, but the general public have never, ever seen this.
Yeah.
And I said, an awful lot of mediums going out and demonstrating will stick to the same. I saw somebody online the other night, and it was a bit sad because after about the fourth message, I had their checklist. Yeah. I knew what they were going for next, and it was every single. I was like, this is dull.
Yeah.
This is a really dull demonstration.
I've seen some really good things in Circle, no doubt, as yourself and everyone out there tonight. And there was a thing we did in Circle once. We give them a word randomly. You pick this word out, yeah. And bless Cecilia wrote these words down, and you know, it's like, okay, but hold that, yeah. Turn it over. What does that word mean to you? And you will get, now they're sitting in Circle, they're connected to spirit, and they will give you what their brain is telling you that word is.
Yeah.
And say, right, I'm going to change this, close your eyes, and I don't take the card. I just take it out of their hand and put it back in. Right? Crafty, isn't it? Yeah? I just take it out of their hand, put it back in and say, now go with what you're feeling, what spirit's giving. And you can actually start to see the energies form around them.
Yeah.
The closer the spirit get, the overshadowing or is just beginning to take place. And they come up with a beautiful few sentences. And you know that spirit's talking.
Yeah.
Right? Their vocabulary changes. They're using words that's not in their everyday life. Yeah. They're not deep trance or anything. And you go, okay, right, well done. And before you open your eyes, what word do you think it is? I don't know. When they turn it over, it's the same word I'd given them.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful example of just get this switched off and allow this to be turned on by spirit. Does that make sense?
That's all the techniques. You know, we both teach. But I know neither of us pushes people through the doorway. We open doors for people. And yeah, but it's probably the same with you. A little bit of frustration of you're not getting it. Why are you not getting what I'm saying? What am I saying wrong that is misleading you? What, you know, I need to do this a different way so that you can get it.
Yeah.
I love that when you're in a teaching environment and you just see you just think, yes.
The light bulb moment, isn't it? Yeah. There's a good little jig you got going there. You've been working on that one.
Yeah.
Full disco night coming up, yeah? When we talk about what it's getting, I think you've got to come back to basics with all we've spoken about, yeah?
Mm.
And one of the basics people say to me, do I ever get tired of teaching about guides? Now, I have quite a lot of different ways of teaching with guides, yeah?
Yeah.
Not just the one trick pony, do this, do that, hold that, whatever. There's so much. I really feel that spirit have chosen me to do a job to create the link, the bond between the medium and the guides. You know, in whatever capacity that I can help or be used. And as much as I look back at the successes of spirit over the years, over the great mediums, do you know where it all stems from? They had this fantastic connection to guides and helpers. Does that make sense? Or guides in particular, yeah?
Yeah.
And I say to people, if you have that connection, you have a network, you have a base, you have that protection, you have that guidance, a willingness to hold your arm, never let you hit the floor, but escort you on your journey to help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And people go, yeah, but you get this feeling from them. I don't want to learn about guides. I just want to go and do mediumship. Well, you're going to need to see someone else, yeah?
Yeah.
But if you, from them, like you said with that feeling, Laurie, you feel what the meaning is. You feel everything about them. Does that make sense?
Very much.
And I will never change. I say that to you now. I will always say the first step you take is making that bridge and that hand out in friendship to your guides, yeah?
Yeah.
Because audiences change, messages are changed, and sometimes you'll be let down, but guides will never let you down. Spirit will never let you down.
Yeah. A number of times I've come home from a demo or a service going, that's it. Never do it again. not doing this. Forget it. That was awful. Why, by the time I've got home, it's my fault. I know.
Do you ever notice that humble pie really sticks in your throat, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, all right, okay, I'll give you this one. But my favourite words is, if you ever do that again, I'm not working no more. And I just hear them words that says, we'll see.
Yeah. We teach to, somebody a couple of weeks ago said, tell them to step back because you could see it was causing them discomfort. They were so focused on making the link, they put their own personal welfare out of the way.
Yeah.
And I just said, tell them to step back because I can see your pain on your face, and that isn't right. If you're in physical pain in contact, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That is wrong.
Yeah.
So that is of an instructional base, but we do have. I sit upstairs and I'm laughing my head off half the time. If anybody comes in, I'm going to end up in Harrison or somewhere because I just put a thought out and the thought will come straight back, and I go, "That's really funny."
Here's one for you, from Sue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very technology minded, yeah.
Well, so you, Bill. I've seen you use an electric can opener and electronic lighter. You switch lights on. You're very
progressing. I think at the beginning of technology, when it was used, especially through lockdown, I was very angry. I'll be honest. I'll hold my hands up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. But I see now that there's so much more. The Lyceum tonight, when we do shoot the breeze, and that wasn't the plug. They're factual things. You create a platform for people to listen to us, to learn, gain knowledge from. And I think that side can grow. I believe if someone, say you were sitting in the church lorry, yeah, you was a trance medium, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You had someone there who was the controller helping you, safeguarding you. I do believe trance could be used by spirit properly to come across the airwaves. I do believe that. Yeah?
Yeah.
The only thing I don't think technology does is allow you to experience the feeling of being in the presence of.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would say. And I think modern methods of communication, yeah, I mean, we're talking tonight. I don't know what countries this is going to go to. And if this conversation's helped one person or given a different outlook or a different avenue to view something,
yeah,
that is good. So I'm for it. I can see technology being used.
Definitely.
And I think in the right conditions, if the right setup was made, and you had a proper trance medium, and that sounds terrible, I don't mean it like that, but you had a medium of competent ability with trance that was safeguarded, I think it could be shown.
Yeah. The only limit in my book to what spirit can achieve through technology is limited by our own imagination.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it really is as simple as that. I actually, and I admitted this to my circle the other day, out of the two, do you know what? I probably enjoy in a different way. Yeah, that's more like it. When I do a Zoom service, I'm comfy. Like tonight, got my nice shirt and tie on.
Who did you mug for that?
My jogging bottoms, sat on a cushion. I'm really comfortable. So when you do a Zoom service, you've not had running around trying to get somewhere, go in, make sure you're on time, all the rigmarole that goes on, get greeted by somebody who starts telling you all the rows that are going on in the church, and you're just sort of like, you know what, I'm already spaced out, please don't bring that around me.
Yeah.
So you're really comfortable. And sometimes on Zoom, the evidence comes over in a different way. And it is more pronounced way. I remember when I first started doing it and thinking, God, why don't I get this on platform?
Yeah.
I was halfway through a message and the guy was stood there and I'm like, he's here. It's very funny. He stood here. He's there. He's right there.
I was I haven't done Zoom. It's not my thing. I will do it. Laurie's going to teach me how to do it, guys. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You are. Otherwise, I'm going to send a poltergeist over there. Yeah. But I
I
remember
volunteer out of everybody watching to teach Bill Zoom. Must have infinite.
Yeah, guys, I'm a bit sick. Yeah. I'm great at talking to dead people, but just crap doing things with live people. Yeah.
Or computer.
I was working at Cambridge Church, and they said, "What are you doing? Setting up the cameras, like, well, this is going live." Yeah. Okay. And I remember saying to Spirit, "Only go to the ones that's here." Right? I can't. Yeah. Don't ask me why. I had it in my head. Just go to the ones that's here. First message, I come to so and so, John on the screen, and they flew. And I learned very quickly. A screen doesn't stop Spirit communicating because Spirit only need your voice.
Yeah, not at all.
That was brilliant.
Never say to Spirit, "I'm not going there," because it's just a red rag for a bull, isn't it? It's every time.
Here we go. Come on, charge.
Yeah. Well, not going to that one.
Yeah.
I'd like to come to you.
I've got to tell you this quickly. I was in London, and bless Cecilia was there with me, and we was working in London, and this particular place we were working was a very run-down, rough area, yeah. And I was working with a medium, and it was a Rastafarian, right? And the medium leant across to me. She went, "Oh, I'm not going to him. I don't want to go to him." And I went, "It's just a person. Go to the person you're drawn to." First message, who'd I go to?
Yeah.
This Rastafarian, and he had this real draw in the voice. Yeah, I can't do the voice, but yeah, man, yeah, and all this, like, it was great, brilliant. Spoke to him afterwards, and he was ever so thankful, the kindest bloke you could meet. Yeah. When we come out of the church, we went to walk along. Laurie, I come from the streets, growing up in rough areas. I see this group of youths coming, and they did look the part. Does that make sense? Yeah. And he walked up straight between me and Celia. Go to Celia's, come, darling. Are you walk with me? You lot move. And they just went thump like that. And I thought, thank you going to him. Thank you going to
him. It's true, isn't it? We do a common thing is mediums' fears of going to other mediums with a message.
I well at your church, don't I?
Sorry?
I know that very well at your church.
Yes.
I reckon you set that up on me, you did.
No. I went into a Zoom room and there was somebody in there and I'm like, what are they doing here? First, I love them to bits, but I'm just like, what are they doing here? Why are they in this room? What do they want? And guess what happened? First message. Oh, I have to believe this. I do not believe this.
One of the failings I'll never forget, right, was working at your church. I think it was the last time I was down. I'd done the workshop and that's it, done the demo, and it was a Sunday service, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
I'm outside, and anyone who knows me, if can't find Bill, where is he? He's outside having a fag. And it was like, hello, Bill, hello. So I said, medium. Oh, okay. Hello, Bill, how's that? Another medium. Another medium. Where are these flaming mediums coming from?
Mediums stay out.
Right. And we laughed about it, Laurie, didn't we? It was like a medium stay out. Yeah, we've all chipped together. We're all coming down, And I remember standing there and you saying, come on, Bill, ready? Yeah. And I'm thinking, you can let me down anywhere you like, Spirit. Just do not do it here today. And it's funny, isn't it? It's the presence of other mediums, even now, still makes me sort of, oh, what are they doing here? Do you know what I mean?
And also our social side. We've all got likes and dislikes in various groups of people. And you just think, oh, I'm not. But it does. The worst thing you can do is say, I'm not going there, because you can guarantee that you will either A, go there, or be so damned obstinate that you will bugger up your night.
I think the moment you start to fight against what spirit are wishing you to do, then the problems arise. I mean, I've done it where I've been at events and they've gone to the mayor. It's like, it doesn't matter what title or rank or what insignia you got or what walk of life you lead, you're still a person.
Yeah.
And spirits see beyond all this superficial physical thing. They just see a person. If a person needs to go to them, they'll have to go to. You've got to go to them, Laurie, haven't you?
You go where you're drawn.
The honesty,
Very much.
I'm looking forward to May.
Oh, didn't I tell you?
Did I tell you I was coming down for the day out?
You told me that last month and you never turned up. Bill, thank you so much. Always good to catch up with it. Very good. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us online. Don't forget, you can watch our service live from here tomorrow, and we have the Reverend Elaine Bevan. Also, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. GMT, we have a divine service coming to you on Zoom from Paul Church. And we have Susan Brothwood Hughes from Ireland and Angela Foster from the UK will be taking part in that service. If you want to see more about anything from Paul, please just go to our website. It's been newly redone. Lots of toys on there to play with, lots of drop-down menus, and it's a complete gateway to everything that we do here in Paul. In the meantime, young Bill, have you got any parting shots that you can say before the watershed at 9 o'clock?
If I was going to say something, I would say never be afraid.
Yeah.
If I really had to say something, I would say to guys, you guys out there, anybody, have a go. Never be afraid.
Yeah.
Because everything you do with spirit is a success.
Yeah.
It is a success. And once you get the taste of it and the touch of spirit touching you, it's addictive. You want more. But the one thing I would say is do it with honesty, do it with truth, and do it with integrity.
Yeah.
And spirit will supply bountiful always.
Couldn't agree more. I say to people, you do not fail. You never fail. Why have you failed? Because you haven't produced it. Who said you could? You still produced something. You still moved along your pathway. There is no failure. It may not be the outcome that we want or desire, but progress has been made. So you've never, ever failed.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Failure, I'll leave this really quickly. I've got to say this. I asked my philosophy guy one day what failure was, yeah? And he said, failure is when you think of doing something and want to do something and never do it. Right? Success is when you've had a go at it. The result might not be what you wanted, but it's a success because you've tried.
Yeah.
Those are his words to me.
Very good. Very good. Where's the lovely Celia?
Asleep, I think. We bored her to death. Oh, there was a voice in the background. She's listening.
A direct voice, then.
Direct voice. Or ventriloquism, whichever you want.
Everyone else where her hand is, then. Hello, Celia.
Hello to the world, Celia.
I said hello.
Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Bill, thank you for your time and your company and your insight. It's been lovely. So have a wonderful night, everybody. Apparently it's going to rain tomorrow, which is good because the garden needs rain now. I mean,
yeah.
I'm fed up with bloody rain.
Another wash.
Hey?
I said the car needs another wash.
Anyway, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Good night.